UK implementation. So we now have these shiny new standards, and to help the UK cross the bridge from old to new, we have PD 19650 Part 0, which is the Phase 1 or transitional guidance. This points out the main changes and is to be used with our existing knowledge, but the journey might still be a bit bumpy. Therefore, to help existing and new users, later this year we will provide full Phase 2 guidance. From the interpretations of the old standards, the majority of people hear the word BIM and think of these. While these aren't wrong, apart from the Revit bit, they're only parts of a much bigger information ecosystem. And this is why I like the new standards, because they focus on the most important thing of all, information and its management. Now I'm going to delve into the main topics of change between the old 1192 standards and the new ISO, including the UK National Annex. These are highlighted within the transitional guidance. Topic number 1, Information Management Maturity. The much loved BIM maturity wedge is now replaced with these blocks in ISO 19650 Part 1, which are made up of different layers, and maturity is now measured in stages rather than levels. For Stage 2, the overall requirements haven't changed. You still need a common data environment, structured and unstructured information, which are brought together to form different federated information models. When we come down to the standards layer, we need to look at this with our UK goggles on. Firstly, it's important to recognise that the term BIM according to ISO 19650 series occurs mainly at Stage 2, but it does also include some of Stage 1 and 3. Then finally, from a UK perspective, us to be achieving Stage 2 maturity or BIM Level 2, we need to refer to the transitional guidance, because this is where there is a list of the standards which are required, and as you can see, it includes quite a few, including my favourite, BS 8536. But above all, when defining projects, please do not lose sight of what's important, and that's defining the actual information requirements. Otherwise, information management is very difficult, as we have nothing to base the process on. So therefore, don't just refer to Stage 2 or BIM Level 2. Topic number 2, Information Management People Structure. The term contract has been changed to appointment, which is better as you don't need to go into formal contract to require information. The main client of the project is the appointing party who is procuring the information, and for each appointment there is a lead appointed party who provides it. When it comes to information management, disciplines don't really come into it, as it's all based around information. We either see providers or receivers of information. So therefore, as we go down the chain, when the lead appointed party selects the next tier, they then become both provider and now receiver. Taking this, we can start to see how it relates to a project. The appointing party is at the centre. They appoint the lead appointed parties, and they in turn appoint the appointed parties. Within each main appointment, you have a delivery team, which are self-contained units of information management. Then within a delivery team, you can have several task teams. Using this diagram, we can now see how this is applied to real-world roles and how the delivery teams would then be assigned. Topic number 3, Information Management Function. Within PAS 1192 Part 2, we had specific roles which were assigned specific activities for information management. The ISO, however, doesn't follow this role-based approach. Instead, all activities within the information management process are carried out by a single information management function, which gets shared out to the most suitable people. This is to highlight the fact that information management isn't just the responsibility of one person, role or discipline. Everyone has some responsibility towards it. Topic number 4, Responsibility Matrix. It's important to understand there are 2 types of responsibility matrix. The first is called the Information Management Assignment Matrix, which can be found in ISO Part 2 Annex A. This takes the information management function I just described in the previous topic and assigns it to whichever individuals or organisations are best to carry them out. It's basically a way of establishing a scope of services for information management. The second type of responsibility matrix is different. This one assigns responsibility for information delivery. It is split into a high-level and detailed responsibility matrix. Topic number 5, information requirements. In addition to asset information requirements, we now have project information requirements. This is information the appointing party requires during the project at each of the project information milestones. Previously, we had plain language questions, which can still form part of this, but the concept is much broader. The employer's information requirements are now called exchange information requirements, which is much better because everyone who receives information on a project has them, not just the client. And in the context of a project, we can see how the client EIR cascades down the chain, being incorporated into the lead appointed party's EIR with their own requirements and so forth for each delivery team. Remember that EIR is one of the mechanisms which selection is based upon. Topic number 6, level of information need. In PAS 1192 Part 2, we had the concept of level of definition. This has now been replaced with the broader term level of information need. This is a much stronger concept for defining information requirements as it's based upon information purposes. It's applied to all information, not just objects and 3D models, and it can now be defined by any means appropriate to the project. Topic number 7, Federation Strategy and Information Container Breakdown Structure. Volume strategy is replaced by the Federation Strategy and Container Breakdown Structure. The Federation Strategy looks at high-level purposes for the federation of information. Container breakdown is the detailed approach of breaking down information, such as by discipline, for security reasons, file size, or to simply fit on a sheet of paper. Topic number 8, Common Data Environment. The process of the Common Data Environment defined in 1192 hasn't fundamentally changed, apart from the following. The term transition replaces gate, state replaces area or section, so for example it's now the shared state, not the shared area. Status replaces suitability, the D codes have now been removed, and archiving has been updated. The archive state should be used to capture all information which moves from one state to another and all changes of status and revision. And at the end of the project, all containers within the shared, published and archived states are to be archived by the appointing party. And lastly, topic number 9. Information containers was a term introduced in 1192, but in the ISO there is new terminology connected with it. Information needs to be packaged up into a container, like a folder, file or layer. Different combinations of these form information models, so basically information models contain multiple types of information. UK-specific standards which govern the identification or naming of information containers can be found in the UK National Annex. Not a great deal has changed apart from the following. For the volume on system field, it's now fixed at 2 characters and XX has been added. The GF code has been removed from the level field. Role has the option of 1 or 2 characters and the H code has been omitted. And number now has the option of 4 to 6 characters, and when changing a number you need to take into account all the previous fields. For information containers within a common data environment, classification is now a required metadata attribute. As per the National Annex, this is to be based on the UK version of ISO 12006 Part 2, which in our case is Uniclass 2015. And last but not least, the identification of layers has been moved to its rightful place in 13567 Part 2. This is the international standard for layer naming, and to make it UK specific, there is a national forward which explains the UK adaptations. If this isn't present, you don't have the latest version. This enables us to now use Uniclass 2015 within the main rules of the standard, giving us a fixed length code and guidance about the various fields.